Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication.
Hi there. Welcome to Mercytv, your source for news and information on the cannabis issue as it unfolds here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. Greetings. My name is Perry, and along with PK, we'll be hosting this segment of Mercytv. And we got a bunch to talk about tonight, PK.
Yes, the new Cannabis Connection is out, and you can get it at your local distributors. And they have excellent articles and recipes. And if you go back to the internet and that, you can get past articles of the Cannabis Connection. Amazing things that modernization can do these days. But I'm showing you how to grow an organic medical garden, how to get the best quality off the plants that you put into the ground.
Right on. And you folks can see that here on Channel 23. That's PK's My Garden. You can see the schedule for it as we become aware, and we post it on our website at mercycenters.org. Well, you can also see a link to the Oregon Cannabis Connection, and there you can see, as PK was saying, past issues with all the recipes, grow tip information, and legislative action, because you want to know who voted how the last legislative session and do something about it this legislative session.
And if you can, write to them, send them an email or however device you got. But if you can, go and see them personally and have a written testimonial too. I had a testimonial that my friend, lawyer Brad Shipman, I believe that's how he says his
Steinman.
name.
It doesn't matter.
But in his research, he found that the state is violating our civil rights in Section 20 of the Constitution, in which it says all people should be treated equally. I don't think the patients of the cannabis medical program, marijuana, is being treated. I hear of patients struggling to find a grower to get quality medicine. And it's not like the old days when growers would hand out, and they still hand out medicine to patients. But the OMA program totally changed. They said 3 times why they were advertising Measure 91 legalization, that they would not touch the medical program. $480 for outside space to grow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it costs folks to be a patient in Oregon. The highest expense in the United States for all the programs, some 25 now. That is incredibly way beyond, and it's way beyond logic or reason or common sense or compassion. And the only way to change it, unfortunately, is at the voting booth, really. And to do so, you need to vote smart. So you want to find out how your legislator voted on the issue, and you can find out most directly by calling them, as PK says, or contacting them. Going to visit's the best way. Yeah. Let them know what you think. You can also call, email, write a letter, and also, though, you can write a letter to your editor. You can also go to online to articles and leave notes, doing the same thing, questioning, putting out the points, or answering a counterpoint from the prohibitionist. But the important thing is that the only way to get them out, once we've outlined them. Oh, and there's several cannabis voter guides out there. So tune into our website, mercycenters.org, where we'll post every bit of information that we have on this.
We need everybody to stand together. We don't have to be bickering between each of us. We need to help each other, and that's what the hemp industry as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the people need to be registered, be informed about what's happening in the legislation. There's an election coming up when they're appointing people this time. They gave you a list of blank where you could put your own name in or the candidate that you would like.
Right. And they're always, we got the primaries coming up. We got special elections happening all the time as people are quitting or passing or otherwise, or getting arrested and dragged out to jail, sadly. And not just elections of people, but talking about bond measures and other things, It seems like every year the cops are asking for more money. And I remember one year where they put out an advertisement. The cops took a full-page ad. The cops who didn't have any money seemed to have enough money for a full-page ad. And they put a list of the crimes that they weren't going to police anymore until they got more money. And unfortunately, pot smokers wasn't one of them. Burglars, rapists, those were things that they didn't care too much about. In fact, there was a classic scenario happened a couple of years ago when the cops were busy raiding our good friend Lori Duckworth down there in Southern Oregon with a 75 cop force. They rounded up every law enforcement individual in a 100-mile radius, descended on this half-dozen bunch of sick and dying people, with their little farm, putting in all that police force presence on those evil scum potheads, how violent and dangerous they are. At the same time, a woman called 911 and, said, this guy trying to break in my door to get at me. And the guy says, well, you're just going to have to talk him out of it because we don't have anybody. They're all busy going after the potheads, And that's wrong, folks. And the only way to end it is by registering, voting, and getting everybody to do so also. And vote smart. Find out what the candidates' opinions are on the cannabis issue, and then spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Tell everybody. And you can tell them in a number of ways by standing up on the streets like you can this Saturday at the Global Marijuana Marches.
On the north end of the Capitol Mall, my friends, that's Center and Summer Street. Summer Street turns left there. It's southbound traffic. You would get off on Market Street and head west to Summer Street and come and find parking, and we'll be there. And maybe a few people walking around the Revenue Building with our signs.
Yeah. So show up, drive by, stop if you can.
And you can get a new cannabis connection.
Hot off the presses.
And hopefully registration forms.
Right on, yeah. So not only can you register to vote, but you can pick up a handful and make sure everybody you know is registered to vote, and then everybody you don't know yet.
So we want to say to the people from Parents for Pot, they help out families in their desperate times, and they're talking about cancer and that. And you should look them up on their website. And the people in the hospital, You should talk to your doctors about using cannabis. You don't have to smoke it. You can have edibles. You can make up a healing oil like I did to help relieve the pain from the carpal tunnel, and it does many other wonderful things. And so the people in the hospital, talk to your doctors, talk to the nurses, talk to your children about cannabis. And if you can, get a cannabis connection and read these articles. Because Climate Falls is trying to do something to help out the patients and the people that use cannabis as a medicine and recreational. And it's ridiculous that we are being taxed and persecuted by the government that has no cares for the patient. And this empty chair is for our old friend Mike, who started the show, and to Grandma Janet, and to Shauna, and the other people that have been through the Mercy Center. We still need your help. There's a donate button on the website. No, it's up to you. We're doing this because we care.
Right on. So visit our website, mercycenters.org, and click on that donate button or contact. And folks should be aware they can come on down to the Mercytv program Fridays, 7 p.m. and be in our studio audience or help out with the show or both.
Or
But
start your own.
We do want to take a moment and remember our compatriots and comrades who can't be here tonight as much as they'd like to. So hopefully, folks, somebody out there will feel so inspired to come and fill the gap and get the word out about cannabis as medicine. It's safe, effective medicine, and we should have access to it.
You don't have to smoke it.
No, indeed.
We have a caller.
Oh, excellent. Go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Speak up, caller.
My name is Philip Miller.
Uh-huh. Hi, Philip.
Hi, Phil.
Yes, I was just wanting to inform you guys that the church that I attend sponsored a plant-based cooking class. And
Really?
They
Excellent.
presented 2 different recipes that included hemp seed.
All right.
And
Indeed.
She informed us that hemp seed is a total protein and is full of the omega-3, full of all the omega minerals and all high in omega-3s.
Yes.
This is the hemp plant, hemp seeds.
Right.
Correct.
And that's just the hemp. There's no THC involved in this scenario.
Very, very, very little.
And also, the 2 of the recipes that she demonstrated was the amazing versatile nut milk.
Whoa.
And another recipe was overnight oatmeal, or breakfast in a jar.
Very interesting.
And this was with the hemp seed oil.
Hemp seed, it was the hemp seed itself, the whole hemp seed.
Wow.
Wow.
Uh-huh. Wow, this is a very progressive church.
It's very nutritional.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate you calling in and sharing this recipe and these information with us. Hopefully someday you can we can get people through this church, especially those who need it the most.
You need to get in touch with the Cannabis Connection and give the recipes to them, because they have a section where they have recipes using the cannabis and probably the hemp plant as well.
Very good.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you very much.
And you have a
great
good
day.
You too.
Thank you.
And God bless your church there.
God bless you guys too.
Thanks.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Good evening. Well, that was nice.
Yep.
Nice bit of information. That's what we're here for, to network, and let people call in about the cannabis plant, especially, as we were saying before, the hemp, because it still has a lot of the CBD, CBN, CBGs,
Our friend Reed uses the roots to make a balm.
Right on, yeah.
And it's high in the CBDs with the roots and the branches, I hear.
That's right, yeah. And we do want to do a shout out to our comrade Reed, who's helping out in the booth there, that he was wants roots. So folks, bring your roots in to the show down here at 575 Trade Street, Fridays, 7 p.m. And again, you can just help out with donation to the
but he
bowl.
wants some clean roots. He can't handle the rock wool solution in there.
Right. So important thing to get out there. But just another example of the kind of networking that we do, like Philip calling in here
Yep.
with that information that I hopefully she's still watching, Phil. Send us an email, and we can help get out the information that way too.
Well, it'll be nice to see his recipe in the Cannabis Connection. And they have several different recipes in each issue.
Right.
So you can make a choice. And
Well, and it's just so refreshing to hear an educated conversation about hemp, where they're talking about using the hemp seed, in its purest form, and all the things you can do with that. Whereas before, the quote common wisdom was that those things would make you high, when that's just the opposite.
Yeah.
There's just doesn't happen. So, it's a good sign, I think, that we go from churches calling for hemp shops to be busted because kids might smoke that T-shirt to, here, have some hemp seeds,
well, that's, like you said, it's very fine. The minerals and
the omega-3s and 7s and 8s, I think, there's a couple of them, along with others, are unique to the hemp seed, yeah. And when you press them and make the hemp seed oil, you're getting all that, in some cases more. But it's just the tip of the iceberg, the fiber, the industrial uses, the industrial oil and fuel, and housing construction, livestock feeding. The thing is, the whole plant can be used, every single thing of it. You crush the seeds, take the oil, and then take those seeds, make cakes out of them, feed them to the animal. Take the plant, squeeze them, stretch it, get the fiber, get the thing, and use it all.
There's several different varieties of the hemp plant as well as the cannabis plant. And one is to make seed and fiber. Well, the other one's made fiber.
Right. So the typical hemp plant, like the ones grown in Canada, Mexico, India, in fact, every country outside the U.S., really. They look kind of like redwoods. They're all stalk, and they're very thin, and there's not a lot of, the buds are very few and far between, leafy, flowers. And what they do is seeds, all, very seedy, and it's not something that would work for. But we're finding out that we can make some CBD rich, versions of this, and again, use the whole plant. Take that, still use the fiber, still use the other aspects all the way.
Like our friend Reverend Steve.
Mm-hmm.
He uses the whole plant in his diet. And we have to check back issues. He was on 2 segments back to back.
Mm-hmm.
But he lives a little bit far away to make it a 3rd time.
Right. Well, hopefully we can get him to call in maybe or Skype in to do some more interviewing, him and others, because it is important to note, along with the primary thing, is that how benign cannabis is. Nobody's died from overdosing on it like so many others. Nobody's really had adverse, long-term physical effects from it.
So our dear friend Robert, and he's in Arkansas. Imagine living in Arkansas and fighting for the cannabis cause. You people, look, check out his website. He sees that the government has been lying to us. I hate to say it's the truth. They've been lying to us. Here in Oregon, in Section 20 of our Constitution, where we should be treated equally and not be lied to and filled with these propaganda thoughts.
Well, don't listen to it, because that's the only way they keep this war going is with nonsensical crap, the same nature of which they started it with. Bold, bald-faced lies. Like 90% of the cannabis grown in Oregon is shipped out of state and ends up in the hands of little children on the East Coast, It's nonsensical. It's impractical. It's unreal. It's like saying the earth is flat, And along with it's evil and dangerous, and it has to be controlled. Every toke that you take has to be monitored,
Propaganda.
And, it's past time our laws and everything were based on that propaganda, when the reverse is true. Cannabis doesn't cause cancer. It has the potential to cure it. It certainly cured it for a number of folks who suffered through it over the years. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, the number of conditions and the ways that it helps. We like to talk to folks about the use of it in a topical fashion. But first, I want to do a shout out to a couple of resources. Reefer Madness, it's opened up on Fairgrounds Road, serving both the medical cannabis and recreational patient community. There's also Green Depot, recreational medical dispensary. They're on 2595 State Street in Salem, Oregon. Visit them. Is there a website? No, but greendepot503@gmail.com is their email. Green Depot in Salem, Oregon. Check them out. And other resources like, the growers. We're trying to find people for growers. That's the number one contact we get from patients needing that.
But it's ridiculous. How can a patient that's on low income come up with $400 and some odd dollars just to have 10 plants grown quality? I mean, those 10 plants would last them the season for the next year, like I grow for myself.
So, that's an important point. So A, they've got to pay this extra money for this grower. And then B, there's the expense of that grower growing. So they need to pay for that, help that grower, to do that.
There's a minimum cost.
And what for? You know, what's the justification for that? They bumped all that money. They made it $200 if the patient had a place to grow other than their resident. You know, what was the thing of that? Because the patient did that, that was so much effort for them to track it, and so there was expense involved? No, it was purely a punitive thing. They did it because they could, because they wanted to punish people for doing that. They wanted to prevent it from happening. You know, we had a case of a patient, Connie, that we were taking care of. She was in a care facility like we were doing a shout out to. And, you know, she used the topical oil that we talk about, right? She didn't smoke it there. It didn't bother anybody, but still, it was a hassle, you know. And this charging her for the extra $200 just killed it. She was on, you know, a fixed income. She couldn't handle that, and that's typical of the patient's harm by this unconstitutional law, where now only the rich can be a patient. Only the rich can have a grower. And that's not what the voters intended when we brought OMA in. And the only way to get it back there is how?
Register, vote, talk to the registration people personally or by email or writing to them. But talk to them personally, face to face, eye to eye. And
don't forget about the march tomorrow, folks.
Oh yeah.
Right on. Saturday, first Saturday in May, the Million Marijuana March, as we were saying earlier, at the intersection of Summer and Center Streets. 11 o'clock we'll assemble. Be there or be part of Prohibition, by golly. Visit mercycenters.org for more information.
Please show up. Show up to the website. Help your brothers and sisters out. Cannabis is good medicine. You don't have to smoke it. There's other means. And check out their recipes in the Cannabis Connection. This issue and past issues. They have a website. And the website of mercycenter.org.
Mercycenters.org, where you can get the link to the Oregon Cannabis Connection and more. Valuable resources for you, the patient or activist or friend or someone of a patient or possible patient in the future, or just a citizen who doesn't like the waste of hunting down the sick and dying for no other good reason than you can. So, hey, thanks for showing up here. Thanks to our callers. And
get better. Use cannabis. It is medicine.
Thanks again to all our comrades who helped to get us here. Thank you, bro, Sonny, who couldn't be here, but will in the future there.
And Grandma Janet.
Right on. Big thanks to our comrade Reed in the control room. Good friends here at CCTV who've been helping us out all the years and without whom we would not be here.
Thank you, friends.
Helping
Have a
you,
good one.
The folks out there. So, but most of all, important of all, talk it up. Talk to your friends, your family, your neighbors. Spread the word. We can count on you to make it happen, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on Mercy TV.
Thank you. You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.